You're listening to Daybreak on CBC Radio 1. It's Friday morning, 8:19 now.
This ain't funny, so don't you dare laugh. Let me tell you a story about a kid named K.A.S.P. Every other day, the cat would skip class just to kick it on the block and hang with his crew. Up and down with the king of Foosh niggas too. Lords of the underground and dog pound too. Nothing but the real, yeah, you know how we do. I was down with OPP, but it's still too.
Indigenous hip-hop artist K.A.S.P is moving back to Kamloops. Rob Sowan grew up in East Vancouver. He tours the country as a motivational speaker, workshop facilitator, and DJ. And K.A.S.P is in our studio. Good morning. Should I call you Rob or should I call you K.A.S.P?
Call me K.A.S.P. It's an acronym, by the way.
It's so much cooler. What's it an acronym for?
Keeping alive stories for the people.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you.
So good to meet you.
You too.
Yeah.
You too.
Very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Can you tell us more about that song? Thank you. What is it about?
Thank you is pretty much thanking. Paying homage to old school hip hop music, right? Like the message and talking about where you've been, what you've done, what you want to do, but also in that time in the 90s when I was growing up, that's what helped me, I guess, become who I am today. And just with the storytelling and just really taking hip-hop music, right, and it brought me back to my culture, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm saying thank you to hip-hop for bringing me back to my tradition, and then also for the people who support my music, but also for the communities who bring me in so I could work with their youth and their community.
How did you learn to sing like that?
I've been rapping, or I guess singing. I never thought I'd call it
well, you
singing.
don't call it singing, but it is, really. It's so musical.
Yeah, I've been rapping since I was a kid, since I was grade 6, grade 7, and then more seriously when I was in grade 8, grade 9. Went to freestyle battles and stuff. My dad, he was a heroin addict for about 27 years, so I didn't want to stay home. So instead of staying home and, I'd go sneak into different places and there'd be these freestyle battles going on. And I'm this young kid rapping against these adults, right? And so I remember one time I rapped against Swollen Members from Mad Child.
Yeah.
And that was pretty, it was funny because it was like, I was cocky at that time. And I was like, I don't care who it is, and people were like, oh, that's Mad Child from Swollen Members. And I'm like, okay, but you're so, I was young, right?
Mm-hmm. You said your dad was a heroin addict. Do you live with your dad? You were brought up in?
I did. I grew up in East Vancouver, the Raymer projects there. Seen a lot of things,
Yeah. What was that like?
It was an experience, I learned a lot now. Looking back, I learned that he did his best to teach me what he knew at that time, right? Before I used to always focus on the negative, and I'd be like, oh, my dad was a drug dealer, he was a pimp, and this and that because of his habit, and he beat me up with broomsticks, extension cords and such, which he did. But it was because of residential school. My dad went through residential school. My grandfather went through residential school, so they didn't know how to be parents. So that was one big, huge learning experience. It was crazy. And one thing he'd always tell me is like, hey, share your story on growing up with, he called it at that time, a junkie, right? But yeah, I've learned so much.
How did you not follow in his footsteps?
The creator, I believe, music. Hip-hop music, a lot of people would be like, oh, hip-hop music is just for, this and that. And I'd be like, no, and this music saved my life, right? And it brought me into politics, I guess. Not politics, but not on purpose, And, there's this huge campaign going on with Sheila North, and, I 100% support her. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that, but yeah, I 100% support her and the work she's doing because she's all about the grassroots and the people. I'm all about the people. I'm all about our youth. I'm all about social change, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah.
And getting our youth and our people and saying, hey, you know what? We're all one. We're all together, and to give our people those tools to be able to succeed and to be able to live in harmony. I guess. Yeah.
Was your mom around?
My mom was, yeah. She was later, right? But not as much, My dad, no. You know what? This is what I talk about with kids all the time. So my dad, I was born in Prince George, BC. I almost passed away. My dad pretty much went up to my mom and said, if he dies, you're dead. and so threatened her, and because he used to beat her up, right? And it was bad because, like I said, he was.
You
sick.
almost died as a baby?
Yes, I did. Yeah, and so he tried to put that on her, and that's what addicts do, right? Addicts are like, lie, cheat, steal, manipulate, and such, right? And that's another workshop. But my mom wasn't around because of that, and so her not being around, I developed these abandonment issues, and then. One thing led to another. Next thing you know, I'm in foster care, so I had to deal with all these things. Later on in life, now I know that she didn't want anything to do with my dad because my dad was mean to her. Right? My dad used to lock her up in a closet with just a house coat and said, "You're not going anywhere." Right? So he passed away June 28th. 8 years ago, and he made amends, right? So he did his best to go out, and he became a drug and alcohol counselor. He graduated from high school and went in and out of jails to help people, and fed street people, So I learned that no matter how bad things are, you could always change it.
So you're a counselor. Now you facilitate workshops.
Yes.
Now you talk to people.
Yeah, I get the opportunity to share my story, and talk about things that I've been through and go to Indigenous communities. I'm Cree, originally supposed to be from Driftpile, Alberta, but I grew up in East Vancouver, right? So, but I'm able to travel to different communities and just educate and help and inspire and motivate and just do my best to say, hey, you know what? You don't have to go here. I've been here. I was born into it. Now you don't have to do that, right? So I've been blessed, and 11 awards later, 11 nominations later, now I'm here. I had a video that was on Much Music, like 2010, but I was still going through, maturing, and now, I'm 9 years sober, and I get to do music for a living and help people.
Is it true that you just came from work? Do you work all night with youth and then...
Yeah, I'm a youth, I guess they call it a youth support worker. So I work with Active Care, and they just recently said, hey, you could do the Indigenous programming. Let's get our kids native and non-native together. Let's educate them on Indigenous beliefs and practices. And I was like, wait, what? Sure, let's do it, right? Yeah. So I serve, three 24-hour shifts, and then I go home and spend time with my family and work on music.
So you're a hip-hop artist.
Yes.
Why did you choose to move back to Kamloops? This isn't exactly a big hip-hop market.
Thanks to the internet. Everywhere you could, I've traveled. I lived in Penticton for 19 years, and I've traveled and performed at the MTS Center, opened up the Indigenous Music Awards. I've traveled all across the country. New York, I went from here to New York, so it's it doesn't matter where you're at. It's how you, I guess my dad used to call it how you hustle, but in a positive way, right? And I could have used all the excuses in the world and been like, oh, my dad wasn't there, and my mom this and that, but instead I was like, no, you know what? I'm supposed to help people, so that's what I'm going to do. I got my family, I got 3 beautiful daughters, and I got my 2 sons and my partner, and it's life's all about my kids. So, and then if I could leave behind a positive message or a positive story for them, it's when I pass that no matter what, giving is receiving, without expecting anything in return, right? So,
Well, what a pleasure to meet you. I hope you'll come back soon.
I hope you have me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome.
That you are, for helping me out, for being there for me. And if it wasn't for the old school, it wouldn't be me. For everything that you are, for helping me out, for being there for me. And if it wasn't for the old school, it wouldn't be me. Yeah. Warm it up, K.A.S.P, I'm about to warm it up, K.A.S.P, that's what I was born to do. TLC was talking, what about your friends? Ice Cube flying in the ghetto bird. That's a flex, sick flows, dirty words. It was all a dream. I grew up on Source magazine. Craig Max spitting flavor for your ear. Tupac, Death Row, man, things for real. ABC singing for Aisha. Bone Thugs rapping fast like Twister. Music was diggable cause it was cool like that. Aaliyah kept my head bobbing back and forth. I was jamming all day, 2 main source. Maestro made your backbone slide after he dropped the needle with the symphony in full effect. Remember when Wu said protect your neck?
I wanna thank you
for everything that you are.
I wanna thank you
for helping me out.
I wanna thank you
for being there for me. And if it wasn't for the old school, it wouldn't be me.
I wanna thank you
for everything that you
I
are.
wanna thank you
for helping me out.
I wanna thank you
for being there for me. And if it wasn't for the old school, it wouldn't be me. Yeah.
Sitting around chilling out, listening, y'all, singing and rapping, playing basketball. Those were the times, those were the days, those were the memories. Just being you helped us through all the hard times. Gotta honor you for doing what you do. No say thank you. I wanna say thank you. Gotta honor you for doing what you do. I wanna say thank you. For everything that you are. Thank you for helping me out. You were there for me. Yes, you were. You were there. I wasn't really old school. And be me.
That is Rob Sowen, or K.A.S.P, and the song is called Thank You.